Hello and welcome again to our third video, part 3 of trigonometry and the area of triangles. And I was thinking of just going through the question number 3 advanced question again, as just wanted to make it a little bit easier, try and clarify things for people and use the calculator as well to show people what to do. We've got an emulator here of a good calculator. It'd be good if you got one that's very similar to this. It makes it easier to do things. Alright, so looking at the advanced question number 3. So we're told that an angle ACB is 30 degrees. Alright, notice that this triangle, the large triangle ABC, this whole triangle, the whole thing, does not have any right angles in it at all until we split it in two. So we're breaking it in two, and you end up with a right angled triangle on this side here. And I'll just bring something up here to show you something. Okay, so split it in two. It was 30 degrees. Okay, so this angle right across here was 30 degrees. 15 plus 15 is 30 degrees inside the larger triangle altogether. 30 degrees. If we split it into two smaller triangles, that angle becomes 15 degrees on one side and then 15 on the other triangle. Alright, so we can split this into two, 15 degrees. Alright, so we have a right angled triangle now. Now the reason why we have done this is because you cannot use sine, cos and tan unless you have a right angled triangle. Just split it in two to get this right angled triangle here. Alright, so 15 degrees at the top now, and you may need to, maybe interested to find out, well, how did we get this 6 meters? Well, side AB is 12 meters. That's what we're given. All the way from point A to point B is 12 meters across the bottom. The base of the larger, bigger triangle that encompasses the two triangles here is 12 meters. When we cut it in two, there's 6 meters at the bottom each. So if we cover this up, cover up one of them and just deal with 1/2 of the whole thing, we've got a right angled triangle with 6 meters at the bottom and 15 degrees at the top. Right, now we want to work out side AC, which is this long side here, the long side, side AC. Now we can use 6 divided by sine 15. Alright, now why do we use 6 divided by sine 15? The first thing to do is to look, are we looking for the long side or not? If we're trying to look for the long side of a triangle, then we should use divide. We start by typing out the number of a side that has been given to us, 6, into our calculator. And then if we're trying to find the long side, we press divide. If by any chance we'd already been given the long side, suppose we knew how long this was, it could have been 9 meters or whatever it is. If we were given it, then we would not use divide. But we're not given it. We're trying to find the long side, AC. And so we need to use divide. Start again with the opposite. We'll start with the side that's given to you, 6, then divide it by to find the long side. And then we look and see, well, we've got an opposite here that we're dealing with. We've got 6 meters is opposite the 15 degrees that we're given. And when the opposite is being dealt with, we use sine. Sine, and then followed by the angle, 15. Now you could use close bracket, but you don't actually have to, it works anyway. Press equals. If you get something fancy or strange like this coming up, don't worry about it. Press the SD button. Alright, so we're wanting 1 decimal place. So look at the second decimal place, it is 8. When it's 5 or more, the second decimal place is 5 or more, we round the first decimal place up 1 more. So it's 23.2 meters. Alright, the next bit is to find side, the other side. The other side is 23.2. Now because this is symmetrical, it's like a mirror image. We know that side there, AC, therefore BC on the other triangle is just a mirror image of the same thing. It's going to be the same amount, 23.2. Let's go back to our original little triangle there we've got, so we just don't confuse people. Now, the angle CAB, alright, trying to work out all of our angles, alright? Want to work out all of our angles, and we've got the 15 degree angle there, and we already know that the whole thing in around there, that was 30, but we don't know this angle here at A. Alright, when you write down angles, the important letter is the one that's in the middle. You have 3 letters, C, A, and B is invisible, it's gone now, but it's C, A, B. The middle letter is the important one that you're trying to find. The middle letter. A is what we're trying to find, the middle letter of C, A, B. A is what we're trying to find. Now, inside a triangle, we have 180 degrees altogether. Okay, so that means that whatever this is, plus, this is 90 degrees here, plus 15, must add up to 180. We can do the reverse of that. We can just start with 180, subtract 90, and then subtract 15, and whatever we're left with has got to be this little bit here. Okay, and we can just check later on if you want to just check and see if they add up to 180. Alright, so the way to do it is a reverse technique of finding the answer here. Start with 180 minus the 90 minus the 15. Alright, so if we go 180 minus 90 minus 15, and we get 75. Alright, now if you want to just check that, just check to see if all of the angles inside the triangle add up to 180. Let's just double check just to make sure. 75 is our angle that we've just found there, plus 15 plus 90, which is our right angle, and they add up together to be 180. So the angles inside that small triangle are 180. Alright, now we have to find the other side. So we've found the long side, we know this side is 6, and we know the 2 angles. Well, what else is missing that we need to find out? Well, the height, this height of this triangle is what we need to find out. Now, at this point, I want you to ignore this 6 meters. Pretend, erase it from the page, or put your finger over the top. we're not going to look at the 6 meters. Okay, now we only need to deal with the things that we're going to put into the calculator. And of course the thing that we're trying to find, that's important as well. The side that we're trying to find is important, and the side that has the information that we put into the calculator. Now I haven't written it on here, but I want you to imagine that I have written 23.2 meters along this long side. 23.2 meters. That's what we figured it out to be. The AC, we figured it out over here. It was 23.2. And I want you to also imagine that this 6 meters is not here, because it's irrelevant. We're not actually using it. We're going to use the long side in order to find this other side here, because that's what we know about. We know about sine and cos. Sine and cos are used when you have a long side or you're trying to find a long side. So that's what we're going to do at the moment. Use the long side to find one of the shorter sides. Alright, so first of all we've got to ask ourselves, is the long side given? And it wasn't to begin with, but now it is. Okay, we didn't know what it was to begin with, and we're trying to figure it out, so we used divide before. But now we know what it is. We know that this side is 23.2. The side here is given to us. Now it's given to us, we've figured it out. Alright, so it is something we know about. 23.2 meters. And we don't use divide because it's given to us. Alright, now we look at what side we're trying to find. Right, so either when we just have a look at the side over here. Okay, so we're looking at the 15. We're going to use this 15 degrees here. Right, so we're going to use the long side and the 15 degrees. In relation to the 15 degrees, we're trying to find the adjacent, the side that is next to the 15 degrees. Okay, now if the adjacent is something either given to you or you're trying to find it, we use cos. Okay, so earlier on we used sine. Let's have a look at what we used. We used sine over here because the 6 meters was opposite. Now we're going to ignore that 6 meters. We're not going to deal with it anymore. Not even going to use it in our calculation. There won't be any 6 in our calculation. So that's not relevant. Okay, what's relevant is either the side that you're going to use, in this case the 23.2, and also the other relevant side is the one that you're trying to find. Okay, if either of those, either the one that's given to you or the one that you're trying to find, either of them are adjacent. Okay, adjacent. This one here is what we call the adjacent. That one's called the hypotenuse. It is next to, but it's actually called the hypotenuse, a long diagonal. So we've got the adjacent here that we are trying to find. Okay, if you're either trying to find it or it's given to you. Anyway, we're trying to find it. Alright, we use cos. So we've got put in there what we've been given to us. We've got 23.2 cos 15 equals, and something strange comes up, press that one there, 22.4 meters is our answer. Alright, so we know now that the height, this height here, from the bottom, from the base down there, all the way to the top, that height is what we've worked out. It's adjacent, it's an adjacent side of the little triangle, and it's a height. And so we've worked out our height here. Okay. Now what we need to do is just work out simply the area. Now what I'll do is I'll remove this again, that little thing that's blocked it, because we want to go back now to work out the area of the big triangle, because that's our original question. We now know that this base here, this base all the way along the bottom now, we're looking at the big triangle now, of course, we're forgetting the little triangles. Okay, we've got all our information, we don't need to use the smaller triangles anymore. We're just looking at what we have for the big triangle. And for the big triangle, here, this isosceles triangle, we have a base of 12. And we have a height of 22.4. You've got to multiply those together, times them together, 12, which is a base, times the height, which we just worked out earlier, 22.4, and divide by 2 because it's a triangle. Any triangle you've got to divide by 2 when you're working out the area, and then you get 134.4 meters squared. Alright, I hope, let me know in the comments if you have actually understood that. I hope that's a little bit clearer for people. I've just tried to, on the basis of what somebody has said before, they didn't understand it, so hopefully that is clearer. I've just tried to make it as clear as possible. Okay, in the next video I will run through the challenge question and the super challenge question. Thank you for listening.